Hello, welcome to MecKidz. Let's talk about our best friends. Hey guys, my name is Keely, and I am so excited because today we are starting a brand new series called Block Party. What's a block party? It's a party for the whole block or neighborhood. Parties during COVID? Well, yeah, so parties look a little bit different today, but that doesn't mean they can't happen. Ah, okay. During Block Party, we are going to talk about friendship. Friendship during COVID? Yeah, so friendship looks a little bit different today, but that doesn't mean it can't happen. Oh, okay. Our memory verse this month is Proverbs chapter 17, verse 17. It reminds us what true friendship is all about. A friend loves at all times. They are there to help when trouble comes. Right now, take a screen break and talk with your family or whoever's watching this video with you about your best friends. Oh, and kids, if you're watching this with your mom or dad, have them talk about their friends too. Then meet me back here. Guess what? What? It's time for a game. Oh, fun. The rules are simple. I'm going to put a maze on the screen and you have to determine which of the 4 paths will lead to the center. Let's do a practice round. Examine the maze closely. Which dot will get to the center? Oh, time's up. Have you picked your dot? Let's see if you were right. It was green. Okay, so everyone know how to play? Let's go with the next round. Look closely. Which one will make it to the center? Time's up! Let's see if you picked right. It was blue. You ready for the next round? This one is tough. Which one could it be? Let's see the answer. It was green. Congrats if you got that right. I think it's time for the hardest one of all. Get ready. You're gonna have to look closely and fast to figure out which dot will make it to the center. Are you ready? Go! Time to see the answer. Did you get that last one right? If so, did you guess randomly? Or did you actually know that that was the best dot? Tell the truth. In that game, we looked carefully at a maze and dots to pick the best one. Did you know that you're supposed to pick your friends carefully too? What? In fact, today, we are going to talk about how to pick the best friends possible. But before we talk more about friendship, let's stand up, sing and dance to worship my best friend, God.
lifts me up, now I'm set apart. From the ash I am born again, forever safe in the Savior's hands. You are more than my words can say. I'll follow you, Lord, for all my days. I'll fix my eyes following your ways, forever free in unending grace. 'Cause you are my freedom. We lift you higher, lift you higher. Your love, never ending. Whoa, oh, oh. You are light in us, nothing can take your place. You are all we need. Your love has set us free. Whoa. In the midst of the darkest night, let your love be the shining light, breaking chains that were holding me. You sent your son down and set me free. 'Cause you are my freedom. We lift you higher, lift you higher. Your love, never ending. Whoa, oh, oh. You are light in us, nothing can take your place. You are all we need. Your Lord has set us free. You are light in us, nothing can take your place. You are all we need. Your Lord has set us free. Whoa. You are my freedom. We lift you higher, lift you higher. Your love, never ending. Whoa, oh, oh. 'Cause you are my freedom. We lift you higher, lift you higher. Your love, never ending. Whoa, oh, oh. You are light in us, nothing can take your place. You are all we need. Your Lord has set us free. You are light in us, nothing can take your place. You are all we need. Your Lord has set us free. Whoa.
The Bible. It's 66 books of history, stories, letters, and poetry that fit together to form God's one big story. The epic adventure of how He created us and loves us so much that He made a way to rescue us. As we travel through the Bible, from Genesis to Revelation, we discover people who met God and found their lives changed forever. Now, for an amazing story, inspired by the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 4, verses 9 through 12.
The writer of Ecclesiastes tells us two people are better than one. They can help each other in everything they do. Suppose either of them falls down, then the one can help the other one up. But suppose a person falls down and doesn't have anyone to help them up. Then feel sorry for that person. One person could be overpowered, but two people can stand up for themselves. And a rope made with 3 cords isn't easily broken. Let's see how this might play out in someone's life today. Jackson slid into the small school theater and took a seat in the back row and waited for Mr. Ray, the music and arts teacher. It looked like there was only one other kid who showed up to build the set for the 5th grade production of Charlotte's Web, Amal from Mrs. Wiseman's class. Hey.
Hi.
The two boys sat there in awkward silence until Mr. Ray showed up.
Ah, my set team. Fantastic. You guys know each other?
Kinda.
Different classes.
Well, you're gonna get to spend a lot of time together in the next 2 weeks as we build this set and get it painted. You guys got any experience with power tools?
Jackson could see Amal shift nervously in his seat.
No, I don't want to go on stage. Miss Wiseman said I could do this instead.
Don't worry, I'll teach you what you need to know. How about you, Jackson?
I'm pretty good with a hammer, and I didn't want to wear some silly animal costume.
The two boys basically ignored each other as Mr. Ray showed them how to measure each piece of lumber for him to cut, and then he helped them lay out the pieces in a large frame.
Now, this'll be one of the wall flats for the backdrop. We'll paint it as part of the barn. Amal, you want to hammer in these nails?
I guess.
I'll hold it more like this. Don't worry, you'll get it.
I'll do this side.
Jackson nailed together the entire flat while Amal still struggled with one corner.
What a klutz.
But it was a different story the next day when they started to paint.
This flat is part of our barn wall. I want you guys to paint a couple of chickens right there.
Amal grabbed a brush right away.
Oh, do you want them to look like real chickens or like cartoons?
Just give them your own personal spin.
Amal got to work right away, creating an entire palette of colors while Jackson was still trying to figure out which brush to pick.
Now, I've got to run down to the art room. Amal, why don't you show Jackson how to get started?
I don't really...
Mr. Ray smiled at them both.
He needs a hand. I think you guys will make a great team.
Mr. Ray hurried out. Jackson and Amal avoided each other's eyes.
Well, I'll sketch an outline for the chickens.
What do I do?
Just, fill it in.
I'm not really an artist.
Jackson dipped his brush randomly in the blue paint and frowned at Amal's outline.
Just have fun with it.
Jackson swiped the blue brush, outlining a wing.
I've never seen a blue chicken.
Oh.
It's great. It'll stand out.
Oh. Thanks.
By the time Mr. Ray returned, Jackson was surprised to discover that he and Amal had already painted 5 brilliant hued chickens. Mr. Ray grinned.
I've never seen a more flamboyant flock.
Jackson held out his fist to Amal, and Amal, surprised, gave him a fist bump.
Yep, see you boys tomorrow.
The next day, Amal showed up with a bruised finger on his left hand.
I can still paint with my right.
What happened?
Mr. Kunkel keeps putting me in as goalie during PE, and then I mess it up, and everyone on the team gets mad at me.
Do you stay on your toes? Keep your eye on the ball?
No. I just panic when the ball comes at me.
Look, I can show you some tips later in the parking lot, before my mom comes.
Really? That would be great.
And Jackson turned out to be a pretty good teacher because Amal managed to get 2 blocks during PE the next day. And when Jackson showed up to paint sets, stressed out by a math test, Amal grabbed his textbook.
Fractions?
Ow, I see all these weird numbers and I freeze up.
You just have to break it down like this.
With Amal's help, Jackson managed to stay calm during his test the next day. And by the middle of the next week, they had completed the entire backdrop for Charlotte's Web.
Well done. I knew you two would make a great team.
Amal's pretty okay.
Jackson's not too terrible.
Look, I know you guys are really different from each other, but it's boring if all your friends are just like you.
Together, they started gathering wood scraps and wiping off brushes.
Seriously, one of the wisest men to ever live pointed this out. Solomon.
Solomon?
Yep. He's this king in the Bible. He was a builder and an artist and super rich too. But for all the things he had, you know what he valued most? Friendship. He says it like this: 2 people are better than 1. They can help each other in everything they do.
On point.
Yeah.
Amal held out his fist, and Jackson tapped it with his own. Maybe Solomon and Mr. Ray were onto something.
Wow, I love those verses from Ecclesiastes, Gesundheit, because they remind us what we should look for in friends. See, most of us pick friends based on whether they like the same things as us. Like the same sports or video games, or those who look like us, like the same kind of clothing style, or even the same skin tone. But Ecclesiastes, Gesundheit, shows us a better way. In fact, I am going to have my friend Haley tell you exactly what Ecclesiastes, Gesundheit, says we should look for in a friend.
Okay, here are 4 things you can learn from those verses in the book of Ecclesiastes. Number 1, friends get more done when they work together, which makes a whole lot of sense. Planning a party goes a lot faster when I've got someone to help me out. Which brings me to number 2, friends help each other. A true friend doesn't just sit back and watch when it's obvious you need a hand. Little help here! Number 3, friends stand up for each other. You better not be messing with one of my friends. I will totally fight you. Unless, you're bigger than me, then I will not fight you. In which case, I will totally reprimand you with some carefully planned stern words. Just don't mess with my friends, okay? And number 4, friends help you trust God. You may have a lot of different friends in your life, but a true friend, one that lasts, is the kind that helps you make wise choices. The kind of friend you can talk to about what you believe honestly, and who can help your faith in Jesus grow. So, here's the one thing to remember today. Choose your friends carefully. I think you should try to be a friend to everybody, whether it's a friend you choose or not. But when you're deciding who to spend most of your time with, you should choose carefully. Ask yourself, is my friend helpful? Would they stand up for me? Do they help me trust God more? And while you're at it, ask yourself this, am I a helpful friend? Would I stand up for others and help people trust God more? When you want to find good friends, one of the best things you can do is to be a good friend. And never forget that Jesus is your ultimate friend. He is always there for you, no matter what. So, be on the lookout for good friends this week. When you choose wisely, you can't miss.
Thanks, Haley. Remember earlier when I asked you to talk about your best friends? Well, I have a new question I want to talk to you about. Are you ready for it? Which of your friends helps you, stands up for you, and helps you trust God more? Talk about that with your family. And then meet me back here. Okay, I have a challenge. I want you to write a letter, the old-fashioned way, with actual paper and ink, to the friend you just talked about. Thank them for helping you, standing up for you, and helping you trust God more. Then, get your parents to help mail the letter to them. And don't forget, if you want a friend like Ecclesiastes, Gesundheit, describes, be that kind of friend to others. Help your friends, stand up for them, and help them trust God more. Well, I'm going to go write a letter to my good friend Rosa. We'll see you next week. Ecclesiastes, Gesundheit.